Dampen the mood now.
News.
Why don't we get into our Storm news?
The Storm playoff run is unfortunately over, which also marked Sue Bird's last game ever. It was a very emotional game. Unfortunately, they lost to the Aces 97-92 on September 6th. Our player of the game is forward Brianna Stewart. She had amazing efforts, 42 points, 7 rebounds, 6 threes. 3 steals. Unfortunately, just came up a little short. Our second player of the game was, of course, Sue Bird, because we had to honor her and everything that she's done for our city. She is, of course, a 4-time WNBA champ, an all-time assist leader, 13-time All-Star, and the WNBA win leader. She's been in the league for a long time, and it's going to be a lot different to not see her face around. So key takeaways from this game. First off, I, of course, want to congratulate the Aces for moving on and say that Chelsea Gray is a monster.
I think you don't even need to. You just need to say her name. What was it that Hunter, one of the people at the media table, said? Put out a tweet out that said a Seattle fan yelled at Chelsea Gray and said, "Leave us alone." I mean, Chelsea Gray's been on fire all series. I mean, we talked about this heading into the series. This is in a Vegas team that's really deep. They've got a lot of great scorers. I mean, for a time, Kelsey Plum was coming off the bench for them. They've got A'ja Wilson, who's now a 2-time MVP, which
we'll leave that there.
Yeah, we'll leave that there. There are just teams of destiny in some games. I mean, like last year, Chicago from a 6th seed to win it all. The Rams. I mean, but there are teams of destiny, right? And I think the Aces are one of them. I think they are going to blow by. Well, they squeaked out game 1 against the Sun, but I think they're going to win it all. I think Vegas wins it all. They've got so much talent on that roster. Becky Hammond's a great coach. I said this to Bel after the pregame press conference from Hammond. I was like, she really knows. She said a lot of the right things. She knows what. She's a really smart woman. I was like, wow, because. So yeah, I mean, both Bel and I were kind of left in shock. Once the game ended, I just kind of stood there waiting. I didn't head right to the press conference. I just stood there. I was like, wow, what just happened? Because I mean, 97-92, it was just pretty similar to that other game. Game 3,
the overtime game.
You had 4-point lead with 11 seconds, I think it was, and then.
Things changed real fast.
I mean, Stewie, 42 points, 7 rebounds, 6 threes, 3 steals. Stewie looked unconscious. There were several points where she was just going at A'ja. Boom, 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 knocking threes down. But at the end of the day, I mean, no third scorer really. Tina only had 2 points. I mean, she was great rebounding and such, but there was no third scorer really. I mean, Jewel had a great game. She set a career playoff high.
Gabby Williams had some impressive plays in there to tie the game and even give the Storm the lead at one point. And I mean, I think the biggest thing, like you said at the start of the season, was we both agreed who's going to help the big 3. And that's exactly what it felt like in this last game. Jewel and Brianna were doing Jewel and Brianna things, and they had apparently agreed before the game that they had to leave it all on the floor, and they certainly did that. But against a team that has, like you said, A'ja Wilson, Chelsea Gray, and then Jackie Young found her groove late in the series. So
Raquana Williams in game 3 hit a bunch of threes in the 4th quarter. Yeah, I mean, you just run out of firepower at some point, right? How much of that for next year? Well, I don't even want to think about next year, because obviously with Sue retiring, I mean, we looked, you mentioned it, right? With 4-time champ, all-time assist leader, 13-time All-Star, the most gold medals, tied for the most gold medals with Deanna, for the most gold medals in basketball, either way, men's or women's. WNBA win leader, should have a statue and her number retired sooner rather than later. We'll have to reflect. It's too big to reflect this week. We can't do that. We'll do that next week. Yeah, and I mean, it just goes to, okay, I mean, not to go too far ahead, but who leads your team now? Because Stewie's not under contract. You've only got two players under contract, and it's Mercedes and Jewel.
Yeah.
You got Jewel for one more year. Ezzy's a restricted player, and it's kind of like if Seattle wants her back, she'll be back, and they want her back. Stewie has basically no indication that she's got a foot out the door, but her and Gabby, with how the WNBA prioritization works, it'll be interesting to see what they do because they make more money overseas. It's the reason why Brittany Griner was over in Russia in the first place. We haven't heard about her in a while.
That's heartbreaking. I thought about that the other day too, because I get Brianna Stewart's tweet every day. And so it does cross my mind at least once every day.
So there's that. And the fact that the WNBA would fine you for doing that is a little stupid. I don't like using that word on air, but it's stupid.
Yeah, we're not going to pay you enough, but then we also aren't going to allow you to go get money elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. And don't come to me or the comment section with, oh, nobody supports these games. Look at the crowds from these games.
Sold out crowd last
You and I, merch table. How ridiculous is it to try to get merch?
Oh my gosh, yeah. No.
So it's there, but the WNBA isn't properly handling the audience they're getting. That's its own other discussion.
Yeah, they had to turn people away at one point because they ran out of sizes and people were just like, "Oh, okay, get out of line."
So take my money. Oh, you don't want it? Well, you know. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to completely redo this roster next year. I had a friend that basically said, "You got Stewie and Jewel, you're gonna compete." I'm like, "Hey, that's got a point," but
do we have Stewie?
I don't know. Right. Not officially, right? So, and there were reports that with the open job that LA is gonna have, that Noe might go there. But Noe sounds really committed to here. So I doubt that.
Down, I thought,
I doubt that. And Tina Charles did not have an exit interview. She declined. I think Tina's gone. I personally think Tina's gone. She came here to win a title this year. She said that. She made it apparent multiple times. How much of a contending team this is next year, I don't know. So I think she's gone, personally.
So it really was championship or bust
for
her.
Yeah. I mean, she made that apparent with the Sun, and when that wasn't happening with Phoenix, I mean, the Mercury, pardon me. It's my bad. Yeah. Made that apparent with the Mercury, and when that didn't happen, wanted out of there.
Ship,
and a bunch of Mercury players talked bad about her, regardless. And I know we had a bunch of Storm fans that talked bad about Tina. Tina was a contributing member of this team, and I don't like that. I don't like the comments that a bunch of them had. Some of them blamed her for missing those free throws in Game 3. You should have been putting yourself in a better position, arguably. It's like kind of blaming the refs for things. It's like, yeah, there are points where the refs impact things, but you should play better than to not have that impact the game and be the reason you lose. I think Tina's gone, though. Regardless, I think she's gone. But I
think it speaks to the magnitude, just like you said, that there's only 2 players on contract next season. So that just right there, that tells you how different this team could look.
Yeah. I mean, who's your point guard? You got to go get a point guard.
And a backup, because we also lost Briann.
Briann January. Briann January retired. I apologize for that. I mean, she's a champion. Oh my God, just talking about it. I think it was Stewie and Jewel talked about it post game, is when we had the chance to get her in free agency, we said hell yeah, because it means we didn't have to play against her. I mean, that's awesome. Briann liked some of our photos, by the way, which, Matt behind the camera, she liked some of. Ooh. I got the DMs for that, so yay. But yeah, it's incredible. We'll have to look at it later in the off season, but where do you go? Where do you go from here? I mean, I have this thing here. Storm ends in Game 5. How would you rate the season? I think a lot of people, it's disappointing because you wanted to obviously send Sue and Bree out the right way, and you couldn't do that. But also, you just didn't have the better team. I think Vegas had the better team, arguably, right? I mean, because if you take Asia and Stewie and then they weigh each other out.
Yeah.
But okay, Jewel, maybe put Jewel and Kelsey. Okay, those two are out. Who's matching up with Chelsea?
Oh God, no one.
Who's matching up with Jackie Young?
Just like Coach Quinn said,
who's matching up with De'Erica Hamby?
Guard Chelsea Gray.
You start, we weigh stars against stars, and you lose that battle. And you got a great, and that's nothing on Noe either.
No.
But you've got a great coach in Becky Hammond. So it's just how it rolled. It's just how it was. It's obviously really sad, but we'll have to reflect on the season next week and just look at things. But yeah, just really unfortunate. I mean, this news next is a little bit nicer, right?
Yeah, yesterday, right? No, 2 days ago, Swin Cash was named to the Hall of Fame as part of the class of 22. So just a few pointers here on Swin. She spent the 2008-2011 with Seattle. She has had a 14-year playing career, 3-time WNBA champion, 4-time WNBA All-Star, 2-time WNBA All-Star MVP, 2-time All WNBA second team, a WNBA 20th anniversary team, WNBA 25th anniversary team, and she's one of 11 women to receive an Olympic gold medal, an NCAA championship, a FIBA World Cup gold, and a WNBA championship. That's
your last name's Cash too, by the way.
Know,
you're a basketball
really
player
cool
and your
name.
last name's Cash. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So congratulations to her. It's much deserved. Of course, that about pretty much wraps us up. The WNBA finals have started. The first game was yesterday, and the matchup is the Sun and the Las Vegas Aces. So
first title for either of those teams. So whoever wins get their first title. I don't have a rooting interest. I think the Aces will win it though. I'm not going to be like, oh, Vegas or oh, Connecticut. Either way, I'd be okay with either of them winning because, I mean, you want to see parity in this league, right? And I wouldn't really consider Vegas that big of a rival. They're just a better team. Chelsea Gray dominated this team, and she gave props to Seattle and Sue Bird after in the press conference. They were both, her and Asia were both really respectful, really cool people to talk to there.
Yeah, I think the thing that resonated with me the most was in order to be the best, you have to beat the best. And she was referring to Sue Bird in that. So, yeah.
I mean, we did talk about that when we were heading into game 3. I mean, well, game 4, right? If you want to you got to be the best. You got to beat the best. Same thing. You couldn't do that. So
that ends our Storm season for the year. And like Charles mentioned, we'll wrap up next week, but the team could look a lot different next year.